Mine's going to be a little bit longer than that. I can't even begin to sum up in words the type of person that Heidi is. Our friendship is so unique and special. I'm the luckiest person in the world to call Heidi my best friend, my sister, and my confidant. Heidi is the most generous, loving, kind, and giving person I know. I've had the honor of going through triumphs and tragedies with her, and her disposition never changes. She gives more of herself to others than anyone I know. When we were younger, Heidi and I would play Barbies for hours. That's why there's Barbies on the cake. She had a huge collection of Barbie stuff, including the mansions, the Corvettes, the wardrobes, not to mention Beauty and the Beast, and Ariel and Eric from The Little Mermaid. Heidi was always Ariel, and I was always Belle. We would pretend with these Barbies that our husbands would come home at the end of the workday, kiss us on the cheek, eat dinner, and then lay on the couch like all men do while the girls clean the kitchen. And then, as little girls do, we would tilt the Barbies' heads ever so slightly so they would kiss, even though their mouths were in permanent smiles. Imagination was never lacking with us. As we grew older, we continued to play Barbies. I remember one night when I stayed the night at Heidi's, I couldn't sleep, so we woke up and made an entire Barbie city in her room and played until the sun came up. There's so many memories I have of Heidi and I, memories I will never forget. Like the time Heidi watched in horror as I kicked her hamster or gerbil or rat, I don't know, around as he was in his exercise ball she put him in to run around the house. Or the time we had a water fight so huge in my grandmother's house we were ankle deep in water before it was over. I remember tying ourselves to roller skates to your dog, Sandy, and letting her pull us up and down the sidewalk. The time your mom told us to do the dishes and we didn't want to, so we hid them in the cabinet, which she didn't know. I remember walking to school every day, holding your hand, thinking I have the best friend in the world. Heidi is a dedicated and selfless person, always thinking of herself before others, a person who would move to Lubbock because she refused to let her best friend move alone. A person who traveled all through the night to be with me the day my grandmother passed away, cutting her vacation completely short. A friend who cried with me anytime I cried, or cheered me on every time I made my tiniest triumph. She's been my biggest cheerleader, my biggest advocate, and my biggest fan. There's so many people in this room that love you unconditionally, and my family has had the honor of calling you one of our own. You are like a sister to me. If I had the chance to pick a husband for Heidi, I would pick someone who is tall, dark, and handsome, just like Heidi's always wanted. Someone who loves the Lord and loves his family. Someone who has a sense of humor and can make her laugh, because laughing and slightly snorting is something Heidi does best. Someone who loves her despite her flaws or what she looks like in the morning. Someone who accepts her friends and her family. Someone who would do anything at any time for anyone. Someone who gets slightly shy in crowds and nervously chuckles when they're put on the spot. Someone who is just as big of a goof as she is. Most importantly, someone who will love Heidi for the rest of her life, on the good days and the bad. I'm so happy to know that Heidi has found this someone in Mark. No, like Heidi, he's not perfect, but he's perfect for her. He has shown her so much love in the past year and a half and given her a short glimpse of what the rest of their life will look like. The sparkle in her eyes say it all. And I know their love is unending. Heidi is Mark's queen. And if anyone deserves to be treated that way, it's her. She's always been so happy at her friends and family's good fortunes, and I'm proud that she has finally struck gold. Before I close, I want to throw some numbers out for you. 22 is the number of years Heidi and I have been best friends. 7 are the amount of years we've been roommates. 6 are the amount of times we've moved. 3 are the number of heartbreaks she's cried with me about. 2 are the amount of times she's chased me around the house with melted marshmallows on her hands because I hated the sight of gooey stuff. Most importantly, 1, the number of guys Heidi has loved in her lifetime. 1, the number of guys Heidi has come home giggling about butterflies in her tummy. 1, the number of guys she has shared that very special first kiss with. 1, the number of guys she's fallen in love with. And 1, the number of guys who have been lucky enough to hold a piece of your precious heart. Mark, you're a lucky guy. You are Heidi's one and only. You are that number 1. Her past, her present, and her future. She has loved you and only you. There's been none before you, and her love will aid in carrying you throughout many years of happiness. The most important number of all has been yet to be counted. This will be the amount of times you will laugh together, cry together, the amount of beautiful children you plan on having, the amount of triumphs and joyous occasions you encounter, and everyone in this room is honored to share in that with you.
Maybe mine will be kind of in between us. I'm Heidi's sister Jenny, and I've known Heidi for, I don't know the number of days exactly, but for all of her life. And although we were sisters, she's been like a best friend to me. And I'm just so glad that you found one. I just wish you all the happiness in the world. And Mark, thank you so much for everything you've done for my sister. And I only wanted one thing in a brother-in-law that I knew for sure. And unfortunately, you didn't cut it. I wanted one thing, besides making Heidi happy, I wanted an older brother. And he's just a little too young, but you're still okay. So just be my older brother sometimes, maybe. And one other thing I wanted to say is I heard a statistic a few years ago about marriage and kind of the secret to a successful marriage. And it was reading the Bible together and praying together. It's not just about church attendance or saying you're Christian, but actually getting to know God together. And if you do that, your chance of a successful marriage is not 50%. It's not 75%. It is 99.9%. And so I just want to encourage you guys to do that. And I think everything else will work out. I love you.